Good morning. I'm Yvonne Williams, President of the Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce. We welcome you to our weekly town forum, an opportunity to update our membership and community on very important issues as we stay together during this COVID-19 environment. We're so excited today to bring you a program that's going to be a flagship program for our chamber under talent and workforce development with wonderful partners in our community. I welcome Lynn Farmer, our Director of Talent and Workforce Development, as she will introduce the guest speakers.
Thank you, Yvonne. We have a great panel today. First is Dr. Cassandra Washington, who is CTAE Director of the Bibb County School System. Dr. Washington moved to Macon after graduating from Tuskegee University in 1994 to work as the manager of campus dining for Aramark at Mercer University. While working at Mercer, she joined the university's first cohort of the Executive Master of Business Administration program and received her MBA in 1998. Dr. Washington, at the encouragement of her mentor, Ella Carter, began teaching at Northeast High School in 2002 and served in several capacities: marketing teacher, CTAE department chair, instructional lead teacher, and she was named Northeast Teacher of the Year in 2004 and 5. In 2007, Dr. Washington moved to Central High School, where she revamped Central's marketing program and oversaw the opening of the video broadcast lab. In 2010, she received her doctorate in educational leadership and took over as the director of Bibb County Schools' Career, Technical, and Agricultural Education Department in 2012. Dr. Cassandra Washington was also named the National Administrator of the Year by the Association for Career and Technical Education in 2015, bringing national recognition for excellence to Bibb County schools. Also joining us is John Hurd, Senior Industrial Engineer at Purdue Foods. John is a senior industrial engineer with responsibilities of industrial engineering functions within the prepared value-added division of Purdue Foods. His role encompasses providing industrial engineering expertise, job knowledge, and engineering skills to the division. His duties are primarily focused on cost-saving initiatives and increasing profitability, with a technically focused mindset that benefits the company. John implemented the FP 201 plant processing training and FP 301 Top Gun training within the division. This training is designed to bring continuous education, knowledge, and information to the managers within the organization to drive continuous improvements in people, product, and profitability within Purdue. John partnered with the Bibb County School System and Central Georgia Tech to create an industrial systems maintenance program for high school students interested in a career in the maintenance field. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being with us today. And Dr. Washington, I am turning it over to you.
Thank you, Lynn. Good morning. Thank you, Lynn, for that wonderful intro. I appreciate it. It is a true honor. And I want to take a moment to also thank the chairman, Yvonne Williams, of the Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce. This is an opportunity to share this morning on how intentional partnerships can build a future-ready workforce. Under the leadership of our superintendent, Dr. Curtis Jones, we always like to begin by sharing what we believe and our vision. Our vision in Bibb County School District is that each student will demonstrate strength of character and will be college or career ready. That is extremely important because that's what we're going to elaborate on this morning. Our mission in Bibb County School District is the Bibb County School District develops a highly trained staff and an engaged community dedicated to educating each student for a 21st century global society. We also have our core values and our non-negotiable listed for you. So this is extremely important. This is our strategic map. And I want to share this because the work that we do is aligned, it is intentional. And today we are going to fall into two of our objectives. The objectives that we're going to talk about dealing with partnerships with industry and businesses, building a future-ready workforce pipeline, and the intentional work we do focusing on students graduating from Bibb County School District, college and career ready. So our two objectives today is student and stakeholder engagement and student achievement. One of the pieces of the puzzle that I've always learned is as industry and education gets together and we start partnering, we have to remember it is important to talk about our acronyms. So I want to just take a moment to talk about what is CTAE. And Lynn did a great job by breaking it down for us earlier by reminding everyone CTAE stands for Career, Technical, Agriculture, Education. In the state of Georgia, we actually added the A because agriculture is our #1 industry. Career, technical, and agriculture is the practice that we must be very aware of. It is the practice of teaching specific career skills to students. And this work actually starts in middle and high school and is aligned to post-secondary. And that is where Central Georgia Tech comes into play as being one of our major post-secondary partners. CTAE is divided into 16 national career clusters. However, in the state of Georgia, we have 17 national clusters because we elected to add energy. So it's extremely important. In Bibb County, we offer over 36 CTAE pathways that are aligned to 14 career clusters. I want to share some data with you so that way you can catch on. Underneath the increased graduation rate, that is our main goal. When we look at CTAE, students who are CTAE concentrators, that means a student has taken at least 2 CTAE courses. Research shows that students that participate in CTAE are more likely to graduate than their counterpartners. In Bibb County, our CTAE graduation rate is 96.9. This year, we've had 358 students participate in occupational dual enrollment. The occupational pathways at the post-secondary level fall in your high demand, such as welding, engineering, industrial system, and those are our high demand. And those are our students participating in those pathways through Hutchins College and Career Academy. We also wanted to share that we have over 7,849 students enrolled in CTAE programs. This year, we had 860 CTAE pathway completers. We also want to make sure that we're preparing students for post-secondary. That's the piece of the puzzle of ensuring you're college ready. So before the pandemic, we actually started testing our students, and we had 150 students already certified through MOS certification, and that's your Microsoft Office. We also have 250 students participate in our Ready to Work job fair. The Chamber and the Industrial Authority sponsored a virtual job fair, which allowed students to participate in the Ready to Work job fair and look for careers after graduation. We also had already issued over 250 industry credentials, and those are our credentials of value, such as ServSafe and Certified Nursing Assistants, making sure that students are work ready upon graduation. Now, as we think about that future ready workforce pipeline, I always like to bring this to the front, and that is that Generation Z. Those are the students that are getting ready to come into that workforce, But it's a lot of traits that they actually carry that is extremely important for the educators and industry leaders. So when we think about who is Generation Z, and we think about that, 48% of the individuals that are in Generation Z are of different ethnicity, which makes this the most diverse generation. That is extremely important to understand. Also, we realize that they're connected to life. They really think about their mission, their values. So they want to work with companies that are truly aligned to what they believe in. And they also think about the actuality of being trusted. They want to be connected to their employers. They want to feel a part. This generation has had technology since birth. They normally use more than 4 screens, whether it is a television, laptop, iPad. They do everything with technology. So they are really, really technology strong. Additionally, they are our entrepreneurs. They have creativity and they normally start their own business. Even if they're working, they normally will have a business on the side. They're very creative and they like face-to-face interaction. And I know that's rare to think about. They grew up with technology, but they really want face-to-face interaction. And that's because they like to be heard. They want to be a part. They want to really be accepted. So they want to have that conversation. So when you think about the connection with Generation Z, and as educators, we're preparing them for the workforce, we have to realize that we have to look at the traits and make sure that we're offering them the skills that they need to be ready for your openings in your industry. In Bibb County, we have work-based learning and youth apprenticeship, and that is considered internship BCD. And we really want industry to understand that interns need to start before graduation. We really would like for students to really connect what they're learning in the classroom with their pathways and connect it to what real world experiences look like. So we actually have over 136 local businesses partnering with Bibb County Work-Based Learning. And that's in multiple areas aligned to those 36 CTAE pathways that we offer. So it is important to think about that. This data that you're looking at is actually before the pandemic. So I want you to think about the funding that they receive. That is money received by students that I know for sure was spent back into our local community. So it is a return on investment when you start thinking about the students that you're hiring. And that is a big piece of the puzzle. And then think about the number of hours that were logged in by the students this year. So on March 16th, this is data that was pulled. And it is really powerful because we didn't even finish out the school year. Some of our students, due to industry changing their practices, were unable to continue to work their work-based learning positions. And this is the data up until March 16th. A lot of industries have heard about youth science. And when you think about the work the Chamber is doing with the educational system, this is valuable. And this is very important because this is what will close the skill gap. And we really want to make sure we understand that because students need to understand what they have an interest in, but what they're good at, their aptitude. And they need to think about that earlier. And that's what youth science does. It gives us data to make sure that we're offering the right pathways, that we have the right individuals in the pathway. And it also allows us to make sure that we are very intentional about gender. And what I mean by that is I don't ever want a young lady that takes youth science to notice, it says I'm good at welding. It said I have the aptitude to be successful in welding. So we want to focus on all students understanding the career opportunities that are available to them. We offer youth science to our 9th graders so that way they can select the best pathway. This is a huge undertaking for us because at the end, we're able to share the data with our chamber and industrial authority to basically say, here is information you can use to tell companies the skilled labor that we have. in the community that will be available for them. So when we actually went back and looked, we had a company come and pull our data for engineering. And we have over 35% of the students in Bibb County that have the aptitude for engineering. That allows us to make sure that we have the pathways available at the right schools and available for all students. So that is a huge component. And I am going to talk about how we're actually implementing youth science in a couple of slides down. Perkins funding is extremely important, and Perkins 5 is our new reauthorized funding. And this is important because it engages the businesses. It allows us to now have true conversation to make sure that we're doing the right work. We want to make sure that every student has an opportunity to explore and choose and follow career and technical programs of study and a credential of value at the end. And sometimes we have to stop and listen to industry. What is truly a credential of value? What is going to allow you to hire a student? And we want to make sure that those are the credential values that we're offering a student. So when we think about it, normally we would do our plan with all educators, but now the law has required that businesses are at the table having conversation and they're a part of that local plan. And we had an opportunity to have over 3 meetings before the pandemic to make sure that our plan truly included the community. And I'll be honest, the community was very excited, but they were honest. And some of the work that we will be doing next year came from information that they shared with us. And a lot of times you need to have someone dissect what you're doing to make sure it's good work and it's aligned to what they need. We also had a chance to look at the gaps in academics and workforce needs to make sure that students are truly ready for that workforce. And then how we can align the funding. And I'm going to share with you out of this meeting, working with WorkSource, we actually realized that a piece of the puzzle is we needed some career coaches to help work through that. So then they can align students to make sure students not only graduate college and career ready, but they go post-secondary and then they go directly into the workforce. So now we have a partner that will make sure they carry students after graduating from Bibb County School District all the way to post-secondary to that workforce. So that is important. And all of that came from those workforce meetings, actually having the opportunity to have industry and community partners at the table. So I wanted to share that because that allows us to use our funding differently to make sure we have students prepared for the 3 E's: enrolled in post-secondary, enlisted in the military, and ready for the workforce to be employable. So when we think about stakeholder engagement, that's building strong relationships for educators, students, and employers. That is our goal. So when you go back to that strategic map, that is the key component: building strong relationships, collaborative relationships, being intentional, listening, and understanding the needs from all 3. So what was extremely exciting, and you are the first to see this, is our new CTAE career guide. Due to our major partnership with the Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce and Georgia Power, they actually worked extremely hard and they gave funding, which is always good, to actually develop a career guide that will be used for industry and students and parents. And this is major. So I am going to show you some of this career guide because I think the piece that's going to be so exciting is the piece that this is directly aligned to the Macon-Bibb County community. Okay, so we have a career guide and we are so excited. 2021 school year, career guides will be printed and given to 9th and 10th graders because the 9th graders this year missed it. So we want to make sure that they have a copy as well. If you notice, we put a picture on there of an African-American male in scrubs, because what we want young men to know is that they can be nurses. They can be other careers in the healthcare facility. So we really wanted to make that connection. We wanted our partners to be on there because without our partners, we would not have been able to do this. So I just want to continuously thank Georgia Power and the Greater Macon Commerce Chamber, the Chamber of Commerce, because this was an amazing opportunity and it looks good. Funding was critical, but it produced a wonderful, wonderful product. So what you'll notice is that we list all of our career guide, career clusters in here and our pathways. And we kind of give some data, some national data, but Bibb County data, so individuals can truly understand CTAE, that CTAE is not your old vocational, that it is different, it looks different, and it is for all students because CTAE allows an individual to explore a career. And when you get ready to go off to college, you're going to accept a major. And isn't it wonderful when you have already had experience? I think about our CNA students that are going into nursing. They already have that first step of the bedside manner. They're already prepared for going into the nursing program. They've already received a credential. So that is powerful to show that they're truly college and career ready. And so we talk about the benefits of the CTAE. We also talk about our CTSOs, and that's Career and Technical Student Organizations. Those are organizations that we partner with businesses to prepare students for communication, competition, and guess what? It's aligned to academics. So it's that embedded academics. We also wanted to talk about dual enrollment and our technical colleges. So that way we are explaining to individuals, we're already doing college in high school. Students are already leaving with college credit. And then we talk about internships and the importance of the internships. And we talk about the pathways, so you can realize that individuals will have multiple pathways that you're going to select the best one for you. And then we give them a quick assessment, kind of figure out what it is. Are you a doer? Are you an organizer, a thinker, or a helper? And then we kind of align some pathways to those. So that way you can start thinking about that as well. And we list the pathways by our high schools. And this is so exciting. This is the exciting piece. Top employers and the occupations in Georgia. And guess what? This is Bibb County data. These are local companies. This is the salaries that will be offered to you from these companies. And that is powerful. This is the first career guide in the state of Georgia that is aligned to the community. So kids are not looking at a company that is 5 states away. They're not looking at a salary that is not aligned to Macon-Bibb County. They're looking at a salary right here in the community, because our goal is to bring individuals back to the community, to grow the community, so they can actually see the importance of the pathway that they selected and what's aligned in their own community. A lot of times that's what's missing. Everyone else is showing national, but what we wanted to do is to align it to our community. And you will notice top employers are located through all of the career guide with the salary. So we are so excited about this booklet. This is going to be major, and we are just so thankful to the Chamber and Georgia Power for actually being true sponsors. They took care of everything. I had to do a little of the work putting it together, but they put everything together. So this is amazing, and that every year our 9th graders will be a part of it. And if someone is not located in the top employers, you will call the Chamber and find out how you can get in that top employer list. So when we talk about stakeholder engagement, it's really about that return on engagement. We always talk about the return on the investment, but it's about that return on engagement. And that is that investment in the engagement process and how we really have to work together. A partnership is about trust, collaboration, teamwork, planning, listening, learning. And it has just been a wonderful opportunity to continue to grow in partnership. Because as educators, sometimes we think we have a lot of the answers, but what we don't know is what industry needs. So we have to really stop and listen and really be prepared to hear from industry how we can make sure our students are prepared. And that is a key component. And now we're going to actually work with Mr. Hurd. He is from Purdue, and allow him to talk about his partnership with the Bibb County School District. Mr. Hurd? Give me 1 second. Technology works well. Okay.
Can you hear me, Dr. Washington?
Okay, I can hear you now, Mr. Hurd, and you are up.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak this morning. It's truly an honor to be invited to speak to the attendees. It was this partnership that was created approximately 14 months ago when I was sitting in my office and thinking about how we can improve the quality of workforce and the opportunities for individuals to come and work for Purdue. And I'm sitting there going, we look for talented, people to come in and apply for positions for operators, for entry-level maintenance positions, and talking in meetings and listening to HR, they're saying, they're not out there. They're not out there right now. So I'm sitting in my office and I'm thinking, I was like, what can we do to build a pipeline of associates that workforce that can feed our needs? So I put together a presentation. I was lucky enough to get Dr. Washington's name. I sent her an email, and it was last April. I showed up to her office and presented an opportunity of partnering with Purdue to develop a strong workforce that we are actually seeing come through today. We had several meetings about how can we make this happen. We looked to see if there's outside resources, and lucky enough, Dr. Washington was able to partner with Central Georgia Technical College to bring another partnership together to make this happen. And I remember sitting in our first meeting with them, and they kind of brought the question, when do you want to roll this out? And my answer to them was, I want to roll it out in August. And I remember seeing the look in their faces like, that's pretty quick. And that Dr. Washington and I, we sat down and we said, we're going to make this happen. And that was one of the great things about working with Dr. Washington, the school system, and Central Georgia Technical College, was that we were able to make this partnership and this program happen in such a quick time frame. The program that was created for individuals that want to get involved with technology, equipment, working on equipment. We designed it to be a 2-year program, with the first year being more of the mechanical side and the second year being the electrical side. But I didn't want Purdue to wait around for 2 years before we saw the fruits of this labor. So we actually started with the opportunity of individuals that were graduating this year to come on board and have the opportunity to work for Purdue. So back in January, I presented an opportunity for an internship, and I wanted to get individuals that were the cream of the crop of the program the opportunity to start utilizing the skill sets and knowledge that they were learning in the classroom on the floor. And not only just an internship that gives them experience, but also puts a little money in their pocket, and they see the fruits of their labor, so they want to continue to grow within Purdue, move up the ladder, within our organization, and know that we, Purdue is a employer of choice for this community, and that we're here long term, and we want to provide for the community as well.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hurt. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And what you'll notice on the screen, we had 2 individuals actually start working. And I know Ms. Farmers will have some questions for Mr. Hurt about the 2 individuals, but it was amazing, and he's correct, to see this come in 14 months, because at the end of the day, industry is important, educating kids is extremely important, and it was the listening and the collaboration and the leadership on both ends, under Dr. Jones, Dr. Rogers, coming together and saying, we're ready, and really giving us the go-ahead and the opportunity, and Purdue saying, let's make it work. But it was the conversation, the collaboration, and the fruits of the labor is seeing those 2 young men sign on as interns. And I know he's going to share some information in one of his questions, perhaps, about what the next steps are for these 2 young men. So I'll turn it back over to you, Lynn. Thank you. I think you're muted, Lynn.
Okay. I want to ask John, what has been your experience working with Dr. Washington and Bibb County Schools?
I'll say my experience has been nothing but pleasure, enjoyment, able to bring something that was truly an idea and bring it to reality in such a short time frame is pretty amazing. I truly appreciate the opportunity of working with the school system, working with Dr. Washington, and look forward to continuing to expand the partnership and see where we can take it from here.
Thank you. One thing that we hear sometimes from businesses who have not taken this step, but they're looking at it and, trying to decide, would I be able to partner with the system? And one thing we hear from them is, how do I know that these are going to be quality students? Are they going to screen these students? Are they really like employees? If they don't work out, can I, say, Dr. Washington, this one's not going to work out? They're really concerned about the students they're going to work with. And I understand that because it's an unknown for people who've never done this. So if you will, tell us about the students you employed this summer as interns and about whether or not they met your expectations.
So going in, part of the partnership that I've worked with the school system is, prior to the students entering the program, I tried to get to 2 to 3 of the different high schools throughout the year and give a presentation about Purdue, about the program, and let the students know, what the expectations are. We can have the smartest person in the classroom, but if they don't show up, but 50% of the time, that does no good to business. So I let the students know, it's like, business will take the person that's got that D average, that's guaranteed to show up all the time because they can trust them. And the teamwork, the team on the floor can trust that they're going to be there as well. So I try to ingrain that into their thought process prior to them getting into the program. And then once they're in the program, they actually have a work ethic grade in addition to their school grade. And part of that work ethic grade that's something that I thought was really fabulous that the Central Georgia Technical School implemented for us was, the ability to work as a team. Do you show up on time? Do you collaborate? Are you interactive with the group and while in class? And that is just as important as the individual's knowledge around the field. So when we approach the students with an internship, we we basically put the ones that were qualified, and when I say qualified, that met the age requirement for working in our facility. We put them through 2 rounds of interviews. So one round of interview was with me, and then another round of interviews was with some individuals from HR, and we wanted them to feel like they were actually going to apply for a job. From there, we put them through an onboarding process of understanding what the requirements are when you're at Purdue. We're feeding America, so we have to take into consideration food safety, employee safety as number one. So there's certain things that we have to consider. We want to make sure that we ingrain that mentality into those students. So from that aspect, and they came onto the onboarding process, we gave them a tour of the facility, and I will say that I think that their eyes just opened up, that they actually saw what was going on. I think they had more questions than they asked. And then when they finally started the opportunity of coming to work every day, and then they received their first paycheck, I think it really showed, we put our words where our mouth is. So it was very important and very enlightening for both sides. The 2 students that we have, that we will, the goal will be to offer them full-time positions. They haven't missed a day of work. They've been on time. It's been a true joy.
Wonderful. John, what advice would you give an industry or business trying to build a workforce?
Well, I would just say, don't. It's a blank canvas. Don't be closed-minded. If you have an idea, take the idea and approach your school system. Approach Dr. Washington and her team and say, here's what we're thinking, right? And the partnership might not be exactly what you're thinking, as far as like you might go down certain paths and then get back to where you're going, but it's a blank canvas and the sky's the limit.
Thank you so much, John. Dr. Washington, I have a few questions for you also.
Yes, ma'am.
First is, what was the process for deciding the pathways in each school? And were families involved in those decisions?
Well, our process is always to involve all parties. So we do surveys. We also survey companies, parents, students, all stakeholders. And we look at the schools and where they're located to determine which pathways are best to offer. And once we do that, then we either change out pathways or we add on to pathways. And I'll use the example of the Rutland zone. We really realized that agriculture was huge, and not just livestock, but ag mechanics, ag business. So when we think about all of the opportunity in agriculture and realizing that agriculture is the #1 industry, that was a huge piece of the puzzle. And we wanted to make sure we were true to our word. So we actually applied to be a pilot for an elementary school, which was heard, and we were accepted. So we were able to start exposing kids to career pathways earlier. And then it feeds into the middle school and the high school. Do we have other pathways in that middle and high school? Yes. But we really wanted to connect to those industries that are in that industrial park to really be able to give them that opportunity for a workforce. And I think it has worked out wonderfully. And then the question came to, why was Rutland selected and not others? And so doing a little deeper diving in your data, we wanted to make sure that we had all students. That is extremely important. And Dr. Jones always says that our goal is to teach all students and prepare all students. So when you think about, we wanted to make sure that we had a diverse group of individuals in agriculture and exposed to agriculture. We already had Northeast as an agriculture and focused on horticulture, but they're getting the agriculture experience. We added agriculture to Appleton Middle School, which then allows us to spread that knowledge and connect that, so then all students have the connection and exposure to a pathway that is the #1 industry in the state of Georgia.
Okay, and I know that I took my Leadership Macon class out to the dairy. And who is your partner with the dairy farm?
That is Mr. Newberry, and it is great to have partners. And once again, I'm just going to say, individuals just show up, and they really already come with a plan, and you have to be ready to listen. One of the biggest costs is showing animals, and Mr. Newberry, and I know it sounds odd, but he actually leases his dairy heifers to us, which allows every student to be able to participate. So we remove that cost from the students. He continues to bring the hay. He actually shows them about shots. He has been amazing. And we have just gained additional partners as well. But that is a huge piece of the puzzle, is the partnerships that we have, the community individuals that come in. So we are blessed to have so many, but Mr. Newberry has really been instrumental in the agriculture program.
Okay. Another question. So many people ask us all the time, and they'll talk about soft skills. And we hear this from a small business all the way up to major, some of the top employers in the community. They want to know who's teaching soft skills. Are you teaching soft skills to our high school students? And can you tell us a little bit about that program?
Yes, we do teach soft skills. We actually was working with the Georgia Department of Labor through Georgia Best, and we wanted to expand on that because once again, teaching is the #1 piece of the puzzle, but the application is the icing on the cake. So what we actually implemented through teaching soft skills was an opportunity to do mock interviews. So we do mock interviews for even our middle schools now. And they actually go through the entire standard, that employability standard that is in all of our CTAE pathways, but about communication, interviewing, resume, the importance of community service, so that way you can build your resume. And then actually being interviewed by a business partner. So once again, it's not teachers, it's not individuals in the school district. Industry comes in and they actually interview the students. And from feedback, from our industry partners, we developed a rubric that allowed them to say you would get hired, maybe, or not at all. And that is so powerful because when kids say, oh, it was the way I was dressed, or I was chewing gum. So everything that the instructor has been sharing is now real world to them, like, oh, I have to do better. So really we teach all of the soft skills. Every CTAE pathway has that standard, but it's about the application, implementing it so the students can practice and really get feedback from individuals. So we are very aware of the need and we're listening to industry and we do teach our soft skills. Yes, ma'am.
Correct. And I want to note that that's a great opportunity for volunteers in the community who can only give 1, 2, or 3 days a year to the system, can come in and help do those interviews in some of the schools. So there's a place for everybody, no matter how much time you have to offer.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Now, this question I get from people, and I asked you this yesterday, and I'm going to ask, what is the most popular pathway in Bibb County?
The most popular pathway, and I'm going to say we have 2, and that is healthcare. We have healthcare at Northeast and at the Career Academy, and both of those programs at those 2 different locations have waiting lists. Kids are really wanting to go into multiple healthcare pathways or avenues. So we actually we have EMT, but we've added EMR to also give students an opportunity to feed that pathway as well. And the second pathway, which we all probably have been doing a lot of during the quarantine, is culinary arts. Kids love culinary arts. It has a waiting list, and it's a great opportunity. And that's just a skill set. I think even if kids don't go into that, that they'll be able to do things at home and really understand the importance of culinary arts.
Wonderful. Tell us about your partnership with Monroe County Schools, and also talk a little bit about the bill that may pass that would provide opportunities for private school students.
Yes, ma'am. Last year, we had the opportunity to partner with Monroe County and the high school Mary Persons, and we opened up a number of slots for them. And they only wanted a certain amount of pathways because they have a strong CTAE program at Mary Persons, but some pathways are very expensive. And Central Georgia Tech is the post-secondary partner for both counties. So it was a perfect marriage to allow students to come and participate in the culinary arts, teaching as a profession, cosmetology, and welding pathway. We are so excited, and I know Mr. Hurd is excited, that students from Mary Persons will be adding, and they've already enrolled in the industrial system technology pathway. What that partnership does for us is it allows kids to start working just like if they're in the industry with everyone, because that will happen upon graduation. They'll go to college with them or they will work with them in industry. But it also allows us to draw the circle a little bit larger from the community for industry to build that pipeline. So we're very excited about that partnership. It is amazing, it's doing well, and we're looking forward to next school year. I know it was a second part to that question, and we are watching and waiting for us to see where that bill will go, where it will give private students an opportunity to come in and participate in pathways at the College and Career Academy in their geographical location. And we will share with you, we've already been in contact with one of the private schools too. They have some questions. And once again, that is a part of Central Georgia Tech as well. So we are scheduled to have a meeting in the next week or so to kind of talk about what that would look like. We're just waiting to see if that bill will pass.
Correct. Thank you.
Yes,
you are implementing a freshman seminar course. What are the benefits of that to the students
yes,
and community?
We are so excited. Last year, we had the opportunity to actually pilot our freshman seminar course at 3 of our high schools. The good thing is this gives us an opportunity to have our 9th graders come in and actually understand how to be advocates for themselves, how to learn about what are the graduation requirements, what courses are needed, what's needed for post-secondary, for military, for employment. And it also gives us a chance to have that group of students do youth science, so then they can look at the data and understand their interest and aptitude, the difference between the two. And that's huge for a student to say, oh, I'm good at engineering, or I'm good at healthcare, because a lot of times kids follow careers that they see in their family. So normally that's how careers are selected, not necessarily based off of what you're good at, but based off of what you see. So this gives us a dedicated time to talk about that. It gives us a dedicated time to do field trips, post-secondary field trips, company field trips. It gives us a chance to go through that career guide and talk about each pathway. So students can say, I'm gonna go into healthcare because that's what I'm good at. I have an interest in that, not because my friend is going into healthcare. It allows them to go into a pathway earlier, making the right choice, so they don't have to keep making changes. And that is huge. It is that dedicated time for the 9th graders truly to be successful in high school. And having that one period a day where they all come together and we can have that dedicated conversation with a customized curriculum allows us to truly focus on the work of those 9th graders. Because research shows that if you have a freshman academy, a freshman seminar course, your graduation rate will be higher. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We have someone who sent in a question. They're asking if the career guide will be available online.
Yes, ma'am. The career guide will actually be on the Chamber's website as well as the Bibb County School District's website. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And so I just want to tell you, the Chamber, I, along with our president and CEO, Yvonne Williams, we're extremely passionate about this partnership with Bibb County Schools. We're excited to be a part of Victory in Progress. And we are so thankful for all the work that you are doing and that our superintendent, Dr. Jones, is doing, and all of the staff and folks who work throughout our system with our students. You all are doing a wonderful job. So we really appreciate that. And in closing, the questions, would you please remind everyone again how business can support these programs in school?
Yes, ma'am. And you alluded to that earlier when you said it doesn't take a lot. 1 hour, couple of minutes to come in and participate in an advisory board, be a guest speaker. The kids need to hear from someone that's truly in that industry so they can ask questions that maybe we don't know all the answers to. They can actually come in and participate with coaching a student for a competition. We have a new partnership tracker that we've created, and we're going to actually track it by, if you come in for an hour and you make $45 an hour, that's money that you're giving us because you're leaving your job. And I can promise you, with all the support we get now, and I know we will get, it's going to be amazing to see that dollar number attached to that. So we want individuals to know our doors are always open. And we're not just looking for the high school, we're looking for the middle school and elementary. We want kids to understand careers earlier. And this is valuable for kids to be able to understand the difference. Because we always use the term of engineering, but that is so broad. It is so many facets in that one career when you talk about industry and engineering. So what does that look like? So we want to expose all of the children in Bibb County to the multiple job opportunities that are available for them. And we need industry to come in and speak about it and share that with our students.
Thank you. And I will say, anyone who is interested, if you're having trouble catching up with Dr. Washington, please contact me or any of us here at the Chamber. We are continuing to have conversations with our members about partnering with the school system and what it looks like to have an intern. One quick question for you. Do you have to pay that intern?
Not all the time. Based on the different careers, we know some jobs are not able to pay, but it goes back to making that connection from the classroom to real world. And that's when the students' eyes light up. And I'm just going to repeat that from Mr. Hurd. And he's right. It is good if they do get paid because it allows them to see the fruits of their labor. But they also understand that sometimes an industry can't pay, so the experience is connected there as well. So it can be both ways, and we're open to that. And our doors are always open. And that blank canvas is basically what it is. What worked for Purdue might not work for someone else. So we are not trying to create a cookie cutter. We're just trying to create what's best for that industry to utilize the students in Bibb County. And before we end, I just want to tell the president, Mrs. Williams, thank you. She is a governance board member with Hutchins College and Career Academy, and her voice is so strong, and the support she provides to us is wonderful. And Ms. Farmers, you are amazing. And so I just want to say thank you for always giving us a platform to share our information.
Thank you so much. We are so honored to be partners with you in this work. And so I hope we'll hear from some of our member businesses who would like to participate or just have a conversation about this. And I am now going to turn it over to Yvonne Williams, our president and CEO, for closing remarks.
Well, thank you, Lynn, for organizing this very exciting panel of updates. I want to particularly thank Dr. Washington, who has paved the way for businesses and education to come together in a major intersection for success. And this is just the beginning, because we know we have a wonderful portfolio of other technology-based opportunities that we can provide our young people as they enter into the careers of tomorrow. I want to give a shout out to Georgia Power for having the very strong vision to say that they wanted to be first in supporting this career pathway guide. It will certainly become a model for our nation, and we're very excited about that partnership. I want to thank John Hurd from Purdue Farms for being the employer that stepped out to say, we're going to lead in this effort. And he certainly provided a great testimony today of what it means when you're looking forward to your workforce and preparing that pathway now to build the talent needed to be productive and be sustainable in the future. And that is a very strong theme now that we're coming into the recovery and resilience stage of COVID-19. I want all of our members to know that the Chamber is here to connect you, and we certainly welcome you to become a strong Chamber member. So remember, we're opening and we're open for you and we're here for you. So join the Greater Macon Chamber and make a difference as we evolve this program to be greater together. I would like to announce that next week, our chairwoman, Julia Magda, will introduce Congressman Austin Scott, who will be our featured speaker. There's a lot of things happening new on the congressional level, and we certainly appreciate the momentum that's going on with our Okmulgee National Park. As the Senate announced this week, a major ability for maintenance funds to come together for our national park here in Macon. And we know the Congress will be right behind the support of that Senate agreement to proceed with another major dynamic phase for our national park area here at Okmulgee. So have a great weekend. We look forward to seeing you next week.